Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the astrology of the moment, the coronavirus, and why it's so triggering for all of us and makes us feel so unsafe. And at the same time give you a heads up for Aries season and how you can take your personal power back. So if that's something you're interested in, then definitely stay tuned. So a couple of days ago, I was sitting with the astrology chart of the moment and preparing my masterclass for my journaling membership that I have. And I talk about the energies of the zodiacs every season. And I was reflecting on Aries season and everything that happens in the world right now. And also obviously Pisces season and how Pisces is the end of the zodiac and Aries is taking the first breath, right? And interestingly enough, obviously, the coronavirus is affecting our lungs. So that was a big realization that I had. But then I also reflected on Aries and the courage to initiate life and the courage to initiate a new world and all of that, which is all ruled by Aries. And how we are so helpless right now and how we feel so discouraged right now in taking action and so unsure and uncertain about the future. And I think it's so interesting because we are in a situation right now where everything is so uncertain and we are so focused on, and dependent really on what the government decides next and what politics decide next and what news come up next. Like we are so focused and in such a waiting mode because we are not sure if the things that we actually want to bring into the world, the projects that we want to start, the plans that we have for our life, all of these things are so uncertain because we have to see what's happening outside of us, right? And it's interesting because Chiron obviously is in Aries right now, which is healing or first of all being wounded and having the courage to initiate our life on our own terms, right? And being wounded and having the experience of, well, yes, I have power over my life, because Aries and the first house, that's all about you, your personal power. And all of us collectively experience this feeling of powerlessness, right? We are powerless right now because we have to surrender, and we had to surrender, and we still have to surrender to what's going to happen next. And in many, many ways, that's such a big reflection, and that's just a realization that I had, a reflection of how we first experience the world. Because when we enter the world, we are powerless, we are helpless, and the people that have power over us, so to speak, are our caregivers, our parents, right? And now we are basically in the very same situation. We're in the very same situation where it's like we want to start our own life, we want to initiate something, we want to live life on our own terms, we want to have the courage, but then we feel powerless because the government decides something, or there's this virus that is restricting us, and all of these things outside of us that are limiting us from living the life that we actually want to live. And that's why this whole situation is not just triggering and not just uncertain and unsafe because of the virus and because of the things that are happening in the world. It's more so because it's a reflection of our childhood wounds, literally, where we were powerless, where we felt hopeless and helpless because we had to surrender to what our parents decide, right? We had to surrender to all of these rules and all of these circumstances that we were born into, right? And that's so interesting because right now, literally every single person in this world was sort of like demanded or asked or forced, however you want to put it, to go back into their home country. So the very origin they were born into. So again, into the circumstances they were born into. If they wanted to be there or not. Like they were asked to go there. And a lot of people had to return to their home country, right? Even like digital nomads, so to speak, that actually don't want to be in their home country. Me included. I'm back in my home country even though I don't want to be there. So I just had this epiphany, and I think it's so important to see it from that angle, because then you also realize that the fear and the anxiety that you feel in this moment is not just about the situation. It's not just about the coronavirus. It's not just about not being able to travel right now, not being able to see your friends, which just look back into your childhood, right? How many times did your parents tell you that you're not able and not allowed to now meet your friends because you've been out and about for too long, right? It's just so fucking, like, I just realized that, and I think it's not even funny, but at the same time it's kind of funny to see it from that angle. But it kind of puts things into perspective, because you realize that, and that's in many ways, not just in a situation we are in right now, because that's a global experience. In many ways in your life, you come to a point where the things that you see and experience, they are just a reflection from the childhood wounds, because the universe wants you to heal them, right? So you are presented with a mirror outside of you. And actually, that's like so many things that I also cover in my book, which I'm really excited to birth into the world at some point. But that's just a side note. But I want us all to focus on seeing that these triggers that we experience, and I want you all really, really to take inventory. What is exactly triggering you in the moment? Is it that you are restricted to travel? Is it that you are unsure about the future, or all of that? Like, if you feel really triggered and anxious at the moment, chances are there are a lot of childhood things coming up for you, a lot of childhood stuff, and that's the thing that you want to heal. And actually right now you have the opportunity to be at home, right? Wherever home is for you, but home is inside of you. No matter what location you are in, even if it doesn't feel like home, doesn't matter, because you have home inside of you, right? And that's something you want to learn. And that's also how you take your personal power back. And I did a series on my Instagram account, Magic Kathi Official, where I tell you how your moon sign is helping you to feel anchored, to feel safe, and to feel grounded. So please, please, please check that out, because it can really soothe your soul and help you to find home inside of yourself. Especially if childhood triggers are coming up for you, right? Because then it's important to understand, how can I mother myself? The moon is related to the mother too. How can I really, really mother myself and feel safe emotionally too? And really, really feel safe to the point where it's not easy, but it's safer for you to address these childhood wounds that come up. And then ask yourself, when was the very first time that I felt this anxious about something like not being able to travel, like not meeting my friends, like not having toilet paper, like all of these things. It's like such a collective childhood trauma experience, where we might even come to the conclusion that this concept of just relating to our caregivers is not working, like for a child. It's not, because we can't be in the situation where we are literally powerless relative to them, because there's so many children are born into circumstances that are not serving them and that make them feel powerless. And that's a pattern and a theme they carry on or carry with themselves for the rest of their life. And that's why they don't live their purpose, right? Because they feel like no matter what they do, these outside forces will always have more power over them, because they give them the power, but they don't see that they are the ones that give them the power. So that's something we have to heal, because you, at the end of the day, are in charge of your life. You have the ultimate power over your life, no matter what's going on outside of you. And you have to see that if someone else has more power over you, it's actually you giving them the power over your life. So it's you. At the end of the day, it's you that has the power, the most power over your life, because it's your life. And that's something that Aries season can hopefully help us to see, because no one should have more power over you than yourself, right? No one. And actually no one can, if you don't give them the power. If you give them the power, that's a whole nother story. But that's something we want to learn right now. And I hope that we all do that, and we all see that, and we all take this opportunity to reflect on how this whole situation is a major collective childhood wounding healing experience. Because then we can also see that these triggers also come into our life in relationships, all sorts of relationships, but all sorts of moments, right? And just like, you know, a personal thing that happened to me, not just during the whole crisis right now with the coronavirus, but also in other aspects in my life, where all of a sudden, because I'm German, but I mostly speak English nowadays, but all of a sudden to certain people I was just talking in German, and I didn't realize it after like it came out of me, and then I was like, wow, that was German. And obviously the person didn't understand German, so they were like, what are you talking about? And the whole reason for that was because my inner child is German. And when I am in a state of crisis, unsafety, or it reminds me just so much of my childhood, I start speaking German without even thinking about it. And that's when I know personally that childhood triggers are really coming up for me. Childhood wounds are triggering me at the moment. And obviously that's amazing when you are bilingual and you can see that. But for many, many people, it's just that they're like, you know, all of a sudden emotions come up for you and you don't know where they come from. And again, in many, many ways, or in many, many circumstances, it's not the situation you are in right now. It's not about this exact situation. It's just a reflection and a trigger that comes up for you. And right now, because we have Chiron and Aries, we are collectively healing the inner child for every single soul on this planet. And that's a collective experience. Each and every single one is healing that. And I think that's why we needed this major restriction, this major surrender, this major feeling of other people have more power over my life than I do, because that's how I grew up. That's what my parents told me. That's what I experienced as a little baby, as a child. And I really hope that we collectively heal that. And obviously that can be the start of a really new way of living, of experiencing the world, of growing up for new babies that are born, all of that. So I'm excited to see that, because the world will never be the same. So yeah, I think, again, it's such a good opportunity for us to stay at home and reflect on all of these things. And if you want to learn more about astrology or your personal birth chart, you're happy to contact me. I would love to give you courage, but also guidance relative to your personal childhood wounds and how you can make something really beautiful and impactful out of them, because we choose them for a reason. We choose them so we can find our purpose, so we can find our magic, so we can reconnect with our personal power. I would love to help you see that in your chart too. And if you want to learn more about astrology, definitely subscribe to this channel, right? And also jump over to my Instagram, The Magic Kathi Show. No, that's not my Instagram, that's my podcast. But jump over to my Instagram, which is Magic Kathi Official. So it's pretty easy to find me everywhere. It's Magic Kathi, and I'm excited to connect with you. I'm excited for this new world ahead, and I'm really curious to know your perspective. So leave me a comment down below to just let me know how you think about my kind of realization, my reflections on Aries and Chiron, and also like the state of the world right now. I would love to hear from you. And I would love to chat with you soon. We will see each other in the next video. And until then, I hope that you step into your magic.